everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of the College Football Tailgate. As always, it is me, XFL Jim.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, yes.
I am joined by none other than the big cheddar himself. It is Chase Lupine Fiasco Sessoms, a.k.a. the Wolf of Oaklawn. And of course, none other than the man, the myth, the legend. It is Erik, a.k.a. Uncle fucking Rico, boys.
Let's fucking go!
Oh, how you guys doing? How's everyone doing? Erik's celebrating with the balloons already.
I have no idea. I have no idea. It must be something I do with my hands.
So before we get into it, this is the Sun Belt episode, a.k.a. the Fun Belt, one of the premier conferences, I would say. I think also the last conference that's keeping divisions intact.
That sounds about right. That's not doing just like a one big open conference.
Yeah, I think they're the last ones. I think they're the only conference this year doing divisions. Is the Mountain West doing? No, the Mountain West isn't doing them.
Yeah, Mountain West is done. Yeah, good to see, good to see traditions still remain in a place I like to call the Fun Belt.
Oh, the Fun Belt. Oh.
Before we just get into it, though, make sure you give us a follow. Give Chase a follow at of Oaklawn, me at XFL Jim, Erik at eTop21 Sports. Is one of us just going to have to bite the bullet and get Twitter Premium to live stream on Twitter again?
That's what Erik and I were talking about just a second ago.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know, but I do so much streaming. I feel this is like, I just have to just fucking bite the bullet. And
How much is it?
It comes out to like 11 a month.
That for Twitter?
Yeah.
I can't justify that.
And aren't they gonna change it to where you don't scroll anymore? It's like a swipe left, swipe right system. Is what they plan on? Yeah. Like that's what he's planning on doing.
They're changing it to Tinder?
Essentially, yeah, Tinder so you can't just they really control what you see.
Tinder for hot takes. That's
Tinder for hot
Twitter
takes.
Is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we have hot takes for the Sun Belt. Are you boys ready to jump right in?
Let's go.
So we're doing by division, alphabetical order. We're starting with the East Division, the number one team. This is App State, the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Win total is set at 7.5. The over, though, is minus 175, plus 135 to the under. They are plus 300 to win the conference, plus 140 to win the East. I have a special bet that I'll say at the end of talking about App State that I have in mind. But this team's I'm excited for App State. They return a ton. I like Sean Clark as a coach. And it's a little morbid maybe, but they did lose a player in like the offseason, like someone died. So maybe they're like playing for him. It's the storyline aspect of it.
You do have to look out for that. That happens.
Team of Destiny vibes, right? Like the Team of Destiny vibes. They have it. And also, Chase, we've talked about it plenty with App State. They only play in instant classic games, so make sure you watch App State this season. They had 6 games last year come within a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, and the big was it this season or last season that they went and beat A&M at A&M?
It was this season.
It was this last season. It was 23.
That's what I thought. Yeah. But it seems like they have one of those games every single season where they can go into their non-conference schedule and games where like other Sun Belt teams would just be cupcakes for other, Power 5 schools. Like they actually suck out those wins every now and again.
God, they're so damn fun. I think they're going to be really good. My only worry for them is potential turnover regression since they had 15 interceptions last year. If they don't like hit that number, with the amount of close games they play in, I'm potentially worried about that. But let me tell you, boys, I love this App State team. Absolutely love them.
Aguilar's back. Anytime you have potentially the best quarterback in the conference, you have a shot to win. I think that's big because they only have one starter back on the O-line. It's important to remember it's better in the later weeks because their top part of their schedule isn't that important for the conference. Noel is going to be gone, but part of the reason you get the portal, Roberts is a beast. I think the O-line can figure it out. Defensive line, I'm a little concerned. They are losing Prince. They gave up over 200 yards rushing in 5 games last year, average 178 yards per game. The biggest win on the defensive side of the ball is Nate Johnson coming back. Second team all conference as a freshman. Not going to lie, I was a little shocked he didn't leave. Back 4 lost its top 2 from last season, which is a little bit concerned. Schedule is a little tough to start the season as well.
The schedule's a little bit tough. Let's get into the schedule. ETSU at Clemson at ECU to start off your season.
Say that again.
ETSU at Clemson and then at East Carolina.
I am going 1-2.
I got them going 2-1 here.
You know what? I was just talking about how they always surprise some team out of a Power 5 or out of a power conference, and I think maybe, just maybe, they get Clemson because I don't think dick about Clemson. So I'm gonna go 3-0 to start it.
I have them splitting Clemson ECU. Erik, are you that high on East Carolina this year?
I'm a little concerned about their offensive line. I'm a
about
big
App State's?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm a little concerned about their offensive line. Going in the road, you're not going to have the cohesion. That's my concern with them.
Back-to-back road game, too. We talk about back-to-back road games. Those are always tough. After that stretch, it's home to South Alabama. They get Liberty at home, and they play at Marshall and at Louisiana before the bye week. So again, South Alabama and Liberty at home, at Marshall, at Louisiana.
I have them beating South Alabama, losing to Liberty, and losing to Marshall.
I have them. I had Liberty as a toss-up. I have them winning South Alabama at Marshall. And
I'm going to say they lose one game in that stretch. So right now I've got them with 6.
I have them still with just the Clemson loss. I might say at Marshall after beating Liberty. They get an L there, so I have them with 2 losses potentially. Then it's the bye week. After that, it's Georgia State for homecoming, ODU, and then at Coastal.
I mean, I have them running the table the rest of the season. I'll just say it. Like, I have them running the table the back part of the season.
I think I got them 11-1 here.
I have them 10-2, 11-1. I have so the losses I have are Marshall and then splitting ECU and Clemson, and they could easily win that one. I've said it before. I'm betting every total no matter what. So I'm taking the over 175, but there's another bet that I like for this App State team because I am just so high on them. It's not to win the conference at plus 300 because I feel like that's a sucker's bet. If they go 11-1 and beat Liberty, give me App State to make the playoffs at plus 1400.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Yeah. I'm taking App State to...
You have them at 10-1, right?
I have them at 10-2, 11-1. We'll say, give me 11-1, Erik, beating Liberty. 11-1 for App State.
And Chase, what are you rocking with?
I got them 11-1.
I have them a robust 8-4.
Give me App State to make the playoffs, baby. That's me calling my shot. That's me calling my shot on this team. I love what they bring back. I love it.
I can get over 8.5 at plus 105. I went way over that total by hitting 11-1. So yeah, I think this is one I do play too. I'll go ahead and play the over 8.5 wins for Appalachian State.
Shout out, let's make some money. Erik likes to talk about big men. We all like to talk about big men here. They're the most important part of the team.
Oh, that was funny. That was
Up
funny.
next, boys, it's the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, led by head coach Tim Beck. The turnover on this team is kind of nuts. So this is like already in is this year 2 or 3 for Tim Beck? This is year 2. It already feels like it's Tim Beck's team in some regards. It's crazy how much turnover they've had. I don't know if I believe in Tim Beck as a coach. Maybe this is my bias. I don't know if I believe that he can kind of turn this offense into what we've come to expect from Coastal Carolina. And I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the defense. Erik, I know you talk about him a lot. I'll let you talk about him, but I didn't see when I'm perusing the roster. I don't know if I spotted any potential chain movers that you like to talk about.
I mean, the fact that you're going to have former Michigan State dud Noah Kim as your starter pretty much sums up their season. As someone that has watched way too much of Noah Kim over the years, it's going to be a long season. They're returning 3 offensive linemen, only have 40 career starts, which is low. Simpkins will be their lead running back, and everyone's predicting a big breakout season for him. They're losing Pickney, who is the Sun Belt's all-time leading wide receiver. Like Jim mentioned, they lost their chain mover we talk about all the time. They have Power 5 talent transferring in, but none of these transfers have done anything on this level. So, I mean, they're transferring in from Power 5 down, and they haven't really done anything. So it's tough to trust them to be the number 1 or number 2 when they've literally done nothing in their college career.
I got a question too about like P4 transfers to these G5s. So I feel like some of these you have to put an asterisk next to, because what if it's a P4 transfer from a school like Cincinnati or UCF that just recently became, now those are qualified as like, oh, we got P4 guys now, when just 2 years ago these guys were on the same level.
It's kind of like going as a recruit to visit Alabama and suddenly you become a 5-star.
Exactly.
Coaching staff is high on the defensive line. Whiteson, who was their best player on it last season, is back. They lost 4. One of them was an all-conference player. Their linebackers will be one of the best units in the conference. Back 4 is losing their top 4. Will take a step backwards. My last note is Beck is their coach. McCall is gone, and Noah Kim is going to be your QB1. Going to be a long-ass season.
All right.
I mean, that's my calling shot on
that's fair. Everyone knows about my Tim Beck bias. Also, question from Sports Facts. Erik, when are we talking about OK State?
Geez, I don't know. I'll make sure I make a social media post if Elon hasn't kicked me out of Twitter by then.
Big 12 preview on the way sometime in the future. You guys ready to go through this schedule?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Starting off at Jacksonville State, William and Mary at home, at Temple, and then Virginia at home.
I have them 1-3.
Oh, give me those games again, Jim.
At Jacksonville State, at your Jacksonville State Gamecocks, William and Mary Tribe, at Temple Owls, and then Virginia at home before the first bye.
Yeah, 1-3.
I have them going 1-3. I did put Jayville State as a potential toss-up, but I'm going to have them losing that one.
How fucking dare you?
Dude,
how dare you
Chase,
do that in front of me?
I know.
I have them losing it. I mean,
I have them losing it too, but maybe.
Hey, Noah Kim.
Kim.
Yeah. In between the bye weeks, it's ODU at home, at JMU, and then Louisiana at home for homecoming.
I have them beating ODU, then losing to Louisiana and JMU.
Same.
I have it same. I did put a question mark for Louisiana. I'm little sort of toss up, but I gave them a loss there. After the last bye, it's at Troy, App State at home, at Marshall, Georgia Southern, and then at Georgia State. So they get the 2 Georgia schools at the tail end there.
I mean, I have them only beating Georgia Southern in that stretch.
Yeah,
I got them losing to Troy, but that's a toss-up too. App State's a loss. I gave them a maybe at Marshall, but that's probably an L. Gave them a loss at Georgia Southern, and then I have them a win at Georgia State. I have the Coastal Carolina Gamecocks at... I got them at 4-8.
I believe I'm sitting at 3-9.
Yeah, I got them at 3-9 as well.
I'm being generous at 4-8. Win total set at 6.5. By the way, I didn't mention that earlier. 6.5. Plus 100 on the over, minus 125 on the under. They are plus 1,400 to win the conference, plus 650 for the division. I'm betting the under.
I mean, I would, but I don't want to tie my money up to that price.
Question from Christian Herman, by the way, not related. If you could change the taste of woman butt to Thousand Island dressing, would you? Also bought the Master on Blu-ray today. Great movie. And the answer is yes, because then when you're eating booty, it'd be like eating an In-N-Out burger.
You know what? I never thought of it. And what's the Master movie? I've never even heard of it.
It's a
Master?
Great,
Oh, it's
it's
great.
a great movie.
Am I
Little
gonna
Joaquin
think of
Phoenix action. Little Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Exactly, NASCAR. Exactly.
Yeah.
Up next, boys, the Georgia Southern Eagles.
Oh, Regina Hall is in this? I may watch it now. I may watch it.
Georgia Southern, all gas, no brakes, all offense, no defense. Can they keep up the offensive firepower and maybe actually like put together some semblance of a defense this year? That's the question. I bounce back and forth on this team. I feel like I was kind of higher on them last year, and they burned me a bit because they started off good, and then at the last half of the season, just L just killed me.
From what I've read, it's a little uncertain who's the starter going to be. Is it going to be French, who is the quarterback last season, or is it going to be Williams, who's transferring in from Indiana?
I think it's going to be Williams. I think it's Williams.
But I haven't named anybody from what I've read, and it's July 17th. If you haven't named the starting quarterback by now, you have some serious worries at the starting quarterback position. Running back unit is solid as they added Arnold Gibbs and White. Added Arnold Gibbs. They have White back. The offensive line is still going to try to figure it out at the tackle position. They have 2 starters coming back. Have a new O-line coach. I'm a little worried how this is going to play out. They lost their all-time leading wide receiver in Hood, but added Shelton from Oklahoma. So they have a new wide receiver, number 1. If they can figure out the quarterback position, I think the potential is there to have a solid season up front defensively. They could have the best defensive line in the Sun Belt with Walker and Rhodes. Linebacker should be good as Stroud is moving back there from the defensive line. Back 4 is adding Gamble and Morris. Should improve. This defense could be one of the better ones in the Sun Belt. This team had a better offense. I think they could be something at the end of the day. I just don't think they're going to be able to score enough to keep up with the other teams in the Sun Belt.
See, that's where you and me disagree, Eric. I trust the offense. Their offense was like crazy for most of last year. Absolutely banonkers. I'm going to say banonkers. Chase, thoughts on Georgia Southern, one of the 2 Georgia schools who, for those of you who watch the gymnasium frequently, we mix them up all the time.
Yeah, here's the deal is I'm not going to play either of these Georgia Southern or Georgia State totals because I am physically incapable of keeping separate in my head which team is which. So I'm just going to bow out on the win total for both of these teams. I say
that's fair. That's fair.
I'm out of my depth whenever I hit the Georgia Southern and the Georgia State.
First part of the schedule, they host Boise State and then travel to Nevada and then get South Carolina State at home.
And this is Georgia State, right?
Southern.
I was reading about the maid. Sorry, not the maid, the master. I have them losing to Boise State, beating Nevada, beating South Carolina State, losing at Ole Miss, losing at Georgia State.
So I have them losing Boise State, winning Nevada, winning at South Carolina State, losing at Ole Miss, and then beating Georgia State.
Well, I'm telling you that losing at the Ole Miss, dude, that's a bold fucking prediction. Dude.
I know.
That is
way to put yourself out there, dude.
Well,
Eric, you just took.
Eric, I'll tell you this though. I might have. I mean, come that day, I might bet them. I don't know. That offense can compete. They could. After the bye week, it's Marshall at home, James Madison at home, at ODU, and at South Alabama.
I have them beating Marshall.
I'll give them a win against Marshall off the bye week, but I have them losing to JMU and South Alabama in that stretch. So I have them beating Marshall, and I have them beating ODU.
Pass.
Then after the last bye week, it's Troy at home, at Coastal, and then App State.
Troy, I lost my goddamn schedule. I have them beating Troy, then losing out.
Yeah, I gave Coastal a question mark on that one. I'll probably give them a win at Coastal. So 2-1 to end the season. I have Georgia Southern. I got them at 7-5.
I got them at 4-8.
I'm gonna. The win total is 5.5. I'm gonna take the over at plus 115. I'm gonna have them go into a bowl game.
You're gonna have them going bowling?
I'm gonna have them going bowling. Clay Helton avoids the hot seat. I trust this offense. I'm just more high on the offense than you are this year, Erik. I think. I trust what he can do.
Okay, respect.
Up next, it's the other Georgia school, Georgia State, the Georgia State Panthers. Win total is set at 4.5, plus 105 on the over, minus 135 on the under, plus 5,000 to win the conference, plus 2,500 to win their division. This is like a complete rebuild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just tear it down to the studs. Build it. I don't know. I'm giving them year 0. I don't trust them to get a system established with the way.
It's late. Yeah.
He was added. What the coach was hired spring practice.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm just giving them a pass for this whole year.
It's Granger's got Clay held so late.
Yeah, Granger's gone. Not sure if Gibson from Georgia Tech or Yelich from Pitt. Verlech, I totally pronounced that, from Pitt will be the starter. Which will be an issue. They're losing 4 stars on the offensive line. The people starting only have 21 career starts, a new quarterback, an inexperienced offensive line. This breakdown isn't off to a good start. Top 2 running backs are gone. They added talent in the transfer portal, but we don't really know exactly what we are getting in terms of receiving room. They lost pretty much everyone, including their number 1, Lewis, so they don't have a true chain mover, which is a huge blow. Transfers up front will be a different story, as they have 5 back and they have 4 in the portal. This is going to be the strength of the group, the defensive line. With Abram gone, it's going to hurt the linebacker group. DBs added some transfers. I like Leach and Brown are coming back. Will be better than last season. Elliott left at the spring practice, so they're putting in a new system, which is brutal. New system. Your all-world quarterback. You're losing your running backs, your top wide receivers, lose 4 offensive linemen. There's no world that this is going to go well for them.
Yeah, it's going to be a real rough year. It's going to be awful. Yeah, that would be what it would take for this team to do anything of substance. Let's get into the schedule. At Georgia Tech, Chattanooga, and then they host Vanderbilt. I don't know, how does Vandy get into these situations where they're going to these schools?
Hey, Vandy's athletic department needs money too.
I have them 0-3. I think they lose to fucking Chattanooga, dude.
So Chattanooga was the only, I gave them 2 toss-up games. Chattanooga was one of them. And then they have the nice little situation where it's a bye, then Georgia Southern, and then their other bye.
I have them beating Georgia Southern.
I have them losing that one. And then after their second bye, ODU, at Marshall, at App State, at UConn, at JMU, Arkansas State, at Texas State, Coastal Carolina. That is such a brutal stretch.
That's rough.
I didn't know Christian was married, dude. I feel like I'm learning so much.
Dude, it's the lore. We're uncovering lore. I have them. The only toss-up games I gave them was Chattanooga and UConn. I got them at 1-11 or 0-12. Excuse me, 1-11 or 0-12.
Georgia Southern, ODU, and Coastal Carolina.
Chase, they were one of the teams I was looking for that you were also kind of looking for if you could bet them to go defeated, what odds are you getting?
Right.
There's a book that needs to post that.
Odds for people to run the table backwards.
Yeah.
I like it. I wish they could offer it because I would take it for Kennesaw State.
I would take it for them. I would take it for Georgia State too. I went under at minus 135. Obviously, you can't recommend it to people at that number.
No, not at all. There's no way you can recommend it to people.
4.5, though, I feel pretty good about it. Up next, James Madison, the JMU Dukes. Win total is set at a solid 8, minus 130 on the over, plus 100 on the under. They are plus 750 to win the conference, plus 330 to win their division. It's hard not to imagine this team taking a step back with how much they've lost.
Right.
I was reading an article, they said 96% of their offensive production gone. Not to mention all the coaches.
Yeah, I mean, McLeod's gone. Morris is transferring from Washington. He'll be the starter. Huge downgrade at the position. Ajayi is transferring in from North Texas and will be running behind an offensive line that's returning 3 starters. I think they're going to lean on Ajayi to start the season. I think we should look to bet his rushing props over. They're losing 2 all-conference wide receivers. They're all-conference tight end. The million-dollar question is who's going to be the chain mover, guys? Who is Williams going to be looking at? No, sorry, Morris to be looking at to move the ball. Trenches on the defensive side, worrisome. They're losing 4 up front. One of them was the conference defensive player of the year. The other 2 were all-conference players. This unit is going to struggle. This season in the middle field, they're going to be weaker, losing all-conference player Walker. Back 4 will be the strength of the team, but up front isn't going to be able to generate any pressure. This is going to expose a lot of issues that James Madison is going to have. Going to take a huge step backwards here this season.
Yeah, I think they're going to take a big one. We do have a question from NASCAR, though. The true question is, which college player has the most dog?
The most dog?
Yeah, who has the most dog in them?
Who has the most dogs? Or who has the most dog?
Who has the most DAWG? So who has the most dog in them?
Fuck, Noah Kim. Who else?
Yeah, probably. Or like someone, like maybe the starter for, like the starting left tackle for Kennesaw State, just because he's going to get brutalized week in and week out. But he's going to keep trotting out there.
That's what it took for us to be sold on Case Cookus. So there we go. Might be the case.
Chase, I think you sold me on Kennesaw State. I might be just rooting for him just based off that now.
Run the table backwards. Yes, join the fever.
But to do it like valiantly, where it's a lot of close games.
Yeah, I want a heartbreaking.
You guys ready to go through this schedule?
Let's do it.
At Charlotte and then Gardner-Webb to start us off. Their schedule is actually not terrible.
I have them losing the Club Lit.
Oh, Erik is putting respect on Biff Poggi.
Look at that. They're going to lose now because you respected Biff Poggi.
I got him going 2-0 to open it up.
I got him going.
And then off the bye week, it's at North Carolina, Ball State, at ULM.
I'll give them the ULM win.
Okay, hear me out. I have North Carolina as a toss up.
Oh, Jimmy.
They're going 2-1 in that stretch. Dude, I'm not yeah.
Jimmy. Look,
it's less being high on JMU and me being low on UNC this year.
Jimmy. I have them losing to UNC. Then you just kind of look at it like through the matchups, they're going to be able to run the ball their next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games.
Yeah, Ball State at ULM, Coastal at Georgia Southern, and then Southern Miss for homecoming. I got them like I'll give North Carolina a loss right now, but the rest of their games before that next bye week, I got them going undefeated.
I mean, look, I have them at 6-2 going into their second bye.
Yeah, 6-2, maybe 7-1, and then off of that, it's Georgia State at ODU, at App State, and Marshall.
So I have them beating Georgia State, and then I have them losing out the rest of the season.
I have them beating Georgia State. I have them beating ODU. I have them losing to App State, and then a toss-up with Marshall, but I'll give them a win.
You know what? I'm buying into the magic. I'm saying they go 9-3, and I'm taking the over 8.5 at plus 135.
You're getting plus 135. Oh, 8.5. I need to get an 8.5 because I also am betting that. I have them going 10-2.
Oh my god, I have 7-5.
I have them at 10-2. Are you taking the under at plus 100, Erik?
No, I only have 2 bets in this conference at a team at a later time.
I am taking
Chase,
the over 8.5 at plus 135 where Chase got it.
Chase, what do you have? What do you have the record at? I'm sorry.
I had it at 9-3.
Oof.
So, Tanner Mordecai all day, Christian. Tanner Mordecai. Yeah, 10-2 for me, Erik. 10-2.
Mostly because Jim was just saying the names of teams really fast, and I got confused.
Dude, I think their schedule just plays out so, like, I think they obviously take a step back, but I think their schedule plays out so nicely. I think this is maybe the conference me and Erik have had the most disagreement on teams.
Yeah,
I like it.
We're not seeing eye to eye here, buddy.
Well, because you have them losing to Marshall at the end of the season, and that's the team we're up to next. The Marshall Thundering Herd, win total set at a solid 6, plus 105 on the over, minus 135 on the under. They are plus 1,600 to win the Sun Belt, plus 700 to win their division. And I talk about this all the time. You can go one or two ways. I think the head coach is on a hot seat, potentially playing for his job. I don't like it for Marshall. He should have been fired last year. So this is like short leash. I don't like what they're doing. So I'm not sold on this Marshall program right now. They're trying to break into new offense. No, I'm out on the Thundering Herd. Don't love them.
And we don't know what's going on at the quarterback. Look, as much as everyone wants to make Pennington into something, he is nowhere near what his dad was. Braxton transfers in from Tulsa. He was bad last season, and Griffiths was underwhelming at Wake Forest transfers in. You have 3 guys who you haven't decided who the quarterback's going to be, all who are personally, in my eyes, awful. They only have 2 starters coming back on the offensive line, new scheme, new offensive line coach. They lose Ali, which is a huge loss. I know that Houston is coming in from NC State, but he's a step down. Marshall switching to an air raid system. The wide receivers will be able to produce if they find a quarterback that can throw them the ball. Defensively, they should be stout up front. Will be like the Marshalls days way back when, like 2019, 2018, where they're huge up front. I feel with the loss of O'Neal and Brown at linebacker, I'm a little worried. Back 4, they lost Abram, who was a stud. This team is switching to a new blocking scheme, new offensive scheme, and a team that needs to figure it out quick, because if they don't, their coach is going to be out of a job.
Would Marshall be the kind of team to fire midseason?
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of pride in that Thundering Herd.
Dude, if I got hired from ESPN, I'd turn it down just so I could stay here with my boys.
Ooh.
Hey.
Erik.
All right.
That's special.
Just so I could stay here with my boys.
Would you try and bring us along with? I don't know if ESPN looked into my history if I'd be allowed.
Same here.
Dude, I have actually a funny story about a person's history I can tell you guys off camera. I tell you guys this story. Oh my fucking God. Like, Jesus Christ. I'll tell you after the show, though.
Chase, any takes on Marshall?
I don't like that they're starting brand new with the offense. I really don't like this team as a fit for the Fun Belt. I feel like they have to. I guess the Fun Belt demographics have changed a little bit, or the area's changed a little bit, so they make a little bit more geographic sense. But I don't know. I feel like this is probably going to be a pretty rough year. If you've got 3 quarterbacks, do you really have 1 quarterback? As I believe our friend Uncle Rico likes to say. So I'm down on Marshall this year.
On your take about them with the Sun Belt, I agree with you. I get that the Sun Belt's a better conference, but to me, it just feels like they should be in like the CUSA.
The CUSA or MAC or
yeah. I totally agree with you there.
Marshall used to be in the MAC.
They did. Did they also used to be in the CUSA?
I think so.
I think they used to. Going into the schedule, they start the season with Stony Brook at home and then at Virginia Tech.
1-1 for me.
Yeah, I got them 1-1. I think Virginia Tech gets revenge this year.
Yeah.
Off the bye week. That's a terrible spot for a bye week because out of the bye week, it's at Ohio State, and then Western Michigan at home, App State at home, at Georgia Southern, and then Georgia State.
So
I'll
I
go
have
Georgia Southern and Georgia State.
So this is my thing. I have them losing to Ohio State.
You don't have them with the Ohio State upset?
No, I'm sorry.
They
I don't
did
think
it to Notre Dame 2 years ago. They can't do it to.
I have them losing to Western Michigan. A little bit of a sandwich spot because App State plays Liberty, Marshall, and then Louisiana. That's a little bit of a sandwich spot. I'm going to look to attack that part of the season. So I actually have them beating App State, then losing to Georgia Southern in a letdown spot with Southern coming off the bye, and then beating Georgia State.
I'll give it. I had Western Michigan as a toss-up, but the more I think about it,
Dude,
after playing Ohio State, they're dead.
Broncos are my team, dude.
Yeah. I'm giving them the L here. So I have them losing Ohio State, losing to Western Michigan. I have them losing to App State and Georgia Southern. I give them a toss-up at Georgia State. I'll give them a win just to be nice.
I went with the win against the Georgias.
And then off the second bye week, it's ULM at home, at Southern Miss, Coastal at home, at ODU, and at JMU to end the season.
So this is my thought. I have them beating ULM off the bye, excuse me. Yeah. Then they go at Southern Miss, who's coming off a bye, so I have them losing to Southern Miss. Then this is when Huff's on the hot seat. I have them winning out.
I give them ULM, and I'm going to give them a win at Southern Miss. I have them losing out after that.
See, I have them somewhere between 5-7 and 6-6. So with the total set at 5.5, like I don't want any piece of this at all.
I'm going to be nice. I'm trying to be generous. I'm giving them 4-8. I'm taking the under at -135. I'm taking the under here.
The under.
Yep. It's -135, so I won't recommend it to people, but that is what I am taking.
You have them at 4-8. I have them at 7-5 somehow.
You gonna take that over, Erik?
No. Chase,
plus 105?
No. Like
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it 5-7.
All right.
Okay, boys. Last team in the East Division. It is Old Dominion. The Monarchs. Win total is set at 5 on the dot. Plus 140 on the over. Minus 180 on the under. They are plus 2,800 to win the conference. Plus 1,200 to win their division. The point, they were like in a lot of close games last year.
Yeah.
And you think that might like flip over a little bit. I'm expecting a lot of close games again this year. I don't know how it flips for them. This was the team I was probably the least sure about any direction.
So Wilson is back, will be the starter. Honestly, if he struggles, I think he's going to be on a short lease, and Emmett Moorhead will take his spot up front. They're losing 3 starters, only 33 career starts. Little worried about the trenches on the offensive side of the ball. One of the big questions is who's going to be the bell cow back. They have Young and Duke, and neither one of them has established themselves as the RB1. Losing Murphy and Harvey will be a big blow, as they really don't have a true number 1 wide receiver. We talk about it every week. You need that chain mover in college football. Trenches on the defensive side, different story. Lowry is back. They're returning 6 of their top 8. I think this unit will be one of the better ones in the conference, middle of the field. Matthews is out with a torn ACL. I mean, if Matthews was still there, that'd be pretty solid for the front 7. Back 4, inexperience. They lost Jones, who was all conference. They need the front 7 to be able to produce pressure to Band-Aid what is going on in the back. I like their coach, but They have way too many questions at the quarterback position to really trust this team to do anything.
And not an easy schedule by any stretch. This is not an easy schedule.
No.
At South Carolina, ECU, and then Virginia Tech to start off your season.
I'll go 0-3.
Yeah. I've got them 0-3 here.
I got to find my ODU schedule. I have them 0-3 as well.
Off the bye, it's at Bowling Green, at Coastal Carolina, at Georgia State, then Texas State for homecoming at home, Georgia Southern, and at App State.
I have them beating Bowling Green, Coastal, and Georgia Southern.
I got them beating Georgia State. I have them losing to Coastal. I had them losing to Bowling Green. I'm gonna stand by. I'm gonna stand by my convictions. I have them losing to Bowling Green, even off the bye. I actually only have them beating Georgia State in that stretch.
I've got them at 3 wins right now.
I got them at 2. Actually, no, sorry. I got them at 1 win. Off the last bye, it's JMU at home, Marshall at home, and then at Arkansas State.
I don't think so, man. I think they lose out.
You got to beat JMU, Erik?
Yep, I got them beating JMU because they're coming off a bye. I have
Old Dominion
2, 3, 4.
1-11.
3-9.
1-11.
I'm
on the under. It's minus 180, so I can't recommend it. Erik, are you on the over for ODU? Over 5? What do you have them at?
4-8.
Oh, you're close.
Would you take them in the unvictorious bet, Jim?
Yes, I would.
At 1-11, you would take them in the unvictorious bet. Okay.
I have in my notes because I don't have them at any specific wins. Like Bowling Green is a toss-up. Georgia State is a toss-up. Like any wins I have are like so close. I don't trust them in these toss-up games. I'd take a shot on them at the defeated bowl.
Okay.
Shoot, man.
It will be hard though for 2 teams in this conference to like go winless.
That's a good point. That is a very good point.
Like I'd favor Georgia State to go winless over ODU. Moving into the West Division, boys, it is Arkansas State, the Red Wolves. Win total is set at 5.5. Minus 135 on the over, plus 105 on the under. They are plus 1,500 to win the conference, plus 600 to win the West. I think the offense is going to be great for this team. I trust him with how they kind of like rallied around Butch Jones. If he cries again, if we see Butch Jones tears, this team's going undefeated.
If we see Butch Jones tears,
if he cries at any point in the season, I'm betting him the rest of the way. That's just so flat out.
Rayner is back at quarterback, but here's the question: why? Like literally, why? Why didn't he?
Why not, Erik?
No, seriously. Like, why didn't he? With how many teams need a quarterback? Why did he elect to stay at Arkansas State? I mean, Chase, is the NIL money at Arkansas State just popping at the seams?
You have no idea the kind of money they got funneling through Jones Boogie Rockinsaw. No, man, I think because he didn't become the starter until like way later in the season. Is that right? Am I remembering this correctly? That he was way into it, and so I mean he's only really got a few games of tape out there. So that's why I see him staying. I do kind of, now that you say it though, see that as a little bit of a red flag. Like if he was really
all that,
then he'd be gone.
Yeah. You know what, Erik? Maybe to him it's not about the money. Maybe it's about the culture.
Solid offensive line. They're getting both all-conference players back in Cross and Wallace. Will be a solid 1-2 combo behind the offensive line they have. Wide receiver room is loaded. Rucker is returning after a disappointing season at South Carolina. So he was here. He went to South Carolina, was brutal. Now he's coming back. Last year up front, they struggled defending the run. They have 7 transfers coming in to help with this issue, adding a lot of size. They added Ham from Colorado to help with the linebacker room. DBs will be the weakness of this team. you're going to be able to throw on them, especially if they don't get a pass rush. This would be a team I like, but the schedule is brutal. I'm afraid playing Michigan and Iowa State back to back to start the season is going to be too physical for them. They're going to get beat up, and physically they just aren't going to recover until way too late in the season.
Well, the good thing about the schedule in that regard is at least afterwards, so their schedule goes Central Arkansas, Tulsa, both at home, and then at Michigan, at Iowa State. They do get a bye week after those two, which is nice.
They should have tried to schedule back-to-back buys.
I think Michigan's going to be beat up after they play Arkansas State. How about that?
There you go, Chase. There you go.
Hot take, Chase. Hot take.
Erik, what do you have them starting out as?
Well,
I got them 2-2.
Read the schedule again.
Central Arkansas at home, Tulsa at home, and then at Michigan and at Iowa State.
2-2.
2-2.
I got them 2-2 as well. After the bye week, South Alabama at home, at Texas State, at Southern Miss, and then Troy for homecoming.
3-1.
What did I have?
Yeah, I got up 3-1 because I got them at 5 wins now.
Yeah, I'll give them 3-1 as well. And then off the bye week, at Louisiana, at Georgia State, then ULM at home, and ODU at home to end the season.
3-1.
I got them sitting at 9 wins, 9-3.
I got them 3-1 here, but I could easily make that 4-0. I wouldn't be upset by that by any stretch. So I got them at I got them at 9-3.
Jesus, you have 9-3. Chase has 9-3. I have 8-4. So this is the one team we've all agreed on pretty much.
I'm gonna bet the over -135. I do have another bet for Arkansas State though. I'm taking a flyer on them to win the West at +600.
I like it. I like it.
Over 6.5 wins, I can get it +150 right now. That's what I'm jumping on.
I'll jump on that too. I will jump on that as well. Up next, boys, it's Louisiana. It's the Ragin' Cajuns. Win total is set at 7.5. -140 on the over, +110 on the under, +600 to win the conference, +280 to win the division. My questions for this team: can the defense get better? I think the offense should be really good. Actually, looking at a bunch of these Sun Belt teams, I'm expecting a very offensive conference this year, which is not what I've typically come to expect from, especially the Western teams.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of pressure on the job too at Louisiana. So I don't know. It's still hard to follow the legend, even a couple years later.
Yep.
If they wait long enough, they could maybe get the legend back
They might be able to.
at a discounted rate, perhaps.
Jesus. Fields is back, but the $1 million question is, can he stay healthy? Offensive line solid, could be one of the better ones in the conference, which will help the 300 running back committee. Ledron, I can't even pronounce that name, is back from suspension. He's going to be their wide receiver 1. Defensive line will be solid, one of the better ones in the conference. Williams is moving from running back to linebacker. Why? I'm always a little bit suspect when we see a move like that. DB is, I kind of like the DB room. I think this unit is kind of solid. The thing that worries me is all their tough games are all on the road. That's the one thing that kind of stood out to me when I was looking at the Ragin' Cajuns.
Well, I mean, at least they do get. So we'll go through the whole schedule, but they do get App State at home. They get Arkansas State at home. They get a couple that are decent.
Yeah.
Go through the schedule. They start with Grambling State and then at Kennesaw State.
Oh, that's 2-0.
2-0 right there.
Yeah.
Off of their bye week, then they get Tulane, at Wake Forest, at Southern Miss, App State at home, and then at Coastal Carolina. A lot of road in between those bye weeks.
I mean, I have them losing to Tulane, losing to Wake, beating Southern Miss, losing to App State, beating Coastal.
That's the same here. I got them sitting at, I think, 4 wins right now.
I got the Coastal win as a toss-up. I'll give them the win at Coastal. I have them losing Tulane, losing Wake, winning Southern Miss, and then losing App State. I'll give them Coastal Carolina. Off of the second bye week, it's at Texas State. Arkansas State's coming for homecoming, and then they host South Alabama. They host Troy, and then they travel to Monroe to play the ULM Warhawks.
I have them beating South Alabama and Troy in that stretch.
I got them beating South Alabama and ULM.
I have them going 0-2 off the bye and then winning out. So I have them beating South Alabama, Troy, and ULM.
Okay.
So after a hot start, I think I ended up with them at 6-6.
Hot start.
Being generous, I have them at 7-5, but I trust it's hard for me to get to 8.
I have them at 1, 2, 3, 4. I have them at 6. 6 and 6.
I like the under 7.5 plus 110.
What'd you have them at?
7.5. I have them at 7-5 generously.
And Chase, what about you, my friend?
6-6.
Are you boys hopping on this under with me?
I'm on it. Yeah.
Plus 110?
I got 2 bets.
Plus
I like
110, Eric. Plus 110. If this was plus 120, you'd take it, pussy. Nah,
I
Did you miss me, Eric? Did you miss me?
You know what, dude? I did miss you, dude. I did miss you.
All right, boys. South Alabama, USA. Win total is set at 6.5. The over is juiced to minus 160. The under is plus 130. They are plus 850 to win the conference, plus 425 to win the division. My main takeaway is I never love a situation where a head coach who's doing a good job leaves for a coordinator position. Not even like really stepping up to a head coach in like a P4 spot. But now he's a coordinator. Where'd
you go?
Alabama.
Okay.
Which, like, fine.
Yeah.
But it's still a coordinator position. And I feel like
but it's a coordinator position that you're almost guaranteed to get a head coaching position.
I felt like he was already in line for a head coaching spot with what he's been doing at USA, though. Like, South Alabama has been like a really good G5 team these last 3 years.
And they trailed off just a little bit, haven't they? They really strong 3 years ago, and then they trail off the last couple of years. It seems like
last year was last year was a little rough. Fair,
yeah.
But I still think he could have been in the spot for like a decent P4 school. But also, I guess I wonder with some of these coaches with the new rules and whatnot, how many of these guys like want to be coordinators now rather than head coaches at this point?
Yeah.
And not have to deal with it, NIL and all that crap.
Yeah, like Chip Kelly and everything like that.
Right. So much easier when you can just throw money into a Burger King sack.
Again, like other Sunbelt teams, though, I trust the offense going to be good. I can't not see the defense taking a step back. I'm sorry. I just can't.
Redshirt freshman Gio Lopez will be the starter. Looked good in the bowl game, more of a running quarterback, but nowhere near what Bradley was as a passer. Lopez will have to use his feet because his offensive line is going to have some issues. They lost their center, both tackles. Bullock is back, which is huge, and the offense will lean on him a lot this season. Worry about losing Lacey, their top guy, and chain mover. Who are they going to lean on now in the wide receiver department? The trenches on the other side of the ball, changing fronts, lost 4 pieces. So I think they're going to be able to be run on to start the season. I have concerns in the middle of the field too. All their linebackers are gone, replacing the whole unit from last year. DBs will be the strength just by elimination. It's not like they're good, but at least they have some talent back there. Fletcher could be one of the best DBs in the conference, potential to be in the league or at least the UFL. Shout out to Jim. Applewhite, head coach, was on the staff last season. I think he's a good coach and will have success here, but in 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's like a building process.
Oh, 100%.
They kept the DC, didn't he?
I believe so.
Which that's a solid move, but I still like Erik was saying, I still see a big step back for this defense. I think what I've said behind closed doors for the last few years is that in the Sun Belt, the West goes through Alabama. Guess what now? My thought process and what I'm feeling. The West goes through Arkansas.
Yeah. Yeah,
Damn
as
right.
it should be.
As
As it should be, really.
Let's go through this schedule. North Texas at home, and then at Ohio and Northwestern State to start the season off.
So ooh, they could easily be what, 3-0 there?
They could be 3-0. It depends, I guess, on what you think about North
I
Texas.
I'm a 1-2.
Ohio. I'm gonna say 2-1.
I'm gonna go 2-1 here. I had Ohio as like a question mark, and North Texas also as a question mark. I'll give them one of those two, and then it's at App State, at LSU, at Arkansas State.
0-3, baby.
0-3.
Yep.
That's a brutal stretch. Off the bye week, they host Troy. They get ULM at home for homecoming, and then Georgia Southern at home before their next bye.
2-2 there. What is that right? 2-2? Yeah,
2-1. There's 3 games.
2-1.
Troy, ULM, Georgia Southern.
I have them 3-0.
I got them 2-1 here. I'm gonna give them. I gave them the L. Wait, no, sorry. I have them 3-0. I have them 3-0 as well. I was reading my notes wrong. After the second bye week, it's at Louisiana, at Southern Miss, and then they host Texas State.
1.
I think I gave the win to Louisiana, so I'm gonna have them going 1 win here off the last bye.
I got a 1 win also.
I have them 5-7. Jimbo, how about you?
I got them 6-6.
C Money.
5-7.
6-6, but I'm closer to like 5-7 than I am to 7-5. Win total at 6.5. I'm betting the under at plus 130.
I got
Yeah, under
nothing.
6 plus 130. Yep, I'm on it.
You taking this one, Erik?
Nope.
You
No,
gonna take it,
this
Erik?
isn't-
You gonna take it up
This,
for Rico?
this isn't one of them. Okay, I'm trying to see
You
which
should
one.
take it.
I'm trying to see. He hasn't taken one yet, so we're got to be coming up soon on what bets old Uncle Rico's cooking up there in the kitchen. Up next, it is Southern Miss, baby, the Golden Eagles. I have 2 notes for this team. 2 notes. Number 1, they finally have a quarterback. Number 2, but they lose Frank Gore Jr.
I mean, I think
Gore
they hit
Jr.
the nail on the head. I mean, they finally have a quarterback. I like Rudemaker from FSU transferring
Love him.
in. He's going to give the offense some stability there. Offensive line has 2 starters back. The only issue is last year they split time starting at the same position, which is a little bit of a concern. Barnes hurt his knee during the spring game, so I think this unit is going to struggle. Gore is gone. No clear starter has emerged. Going to be a committee to approach running the ball. I'm never really a big fan of that. Also, a lot of questions. Wide receiver room. 5 of their top 7 are gone. Young on paper, they have talent, but are they going to be able to put it together? And will Rudemaker be able to stand up behind this offensive line? Defensive line will be the strength of this team. They have someone that can get to the quarterback in Clemens. 4 of their top 6 defensive linemen are back. They did add some good guys on paper in the portal, but Jim said it before. We really don't know what we're getting with these portal guys that have never played before dropping down to play at a lower level of football. Lawrence is switching to a linebacker, which is going to help. 4 transfers are going to come in, whole new linebacker room. They did lose Daniels, who passed away this offseason in the back 4. They did lose Lawrence, who's moving up to a linebacker position. I think this team will get better toward the end of the season, and that's when we can look to bet them because all these transfers and all these question marks are going to finally start gelling. But I think it's going to be another long season for Southern Miss.
Let me do my prediction right here. Chase will have the Southern Miss Golden Eagles going 3-9. This is a guess.
Let me.
see.
My prediction is I think he has them winning week 1.
That's part of the 3-9. So they start the season off at Kentucky, Southeastern Louisiana, USF, and at Jacksonville State.
So they go 2-2 is what it sounds like. They went.
Yes.
They beat Kentucky by 6 million, and then they
They ride that momentum to Southeastern Louisiana, and then lose to USF and Jacksonville State.
Yeah, 2-2.
I got them at 1-3.
Beating Kentucky and then have a letdown spot against Southeast Louisiana.
No, they ride the momentum actually.
Listen,
it's
Kentucky. They're all letdown spots. When you're destined to go 0-12 every single year.
I have them beating Southeast Louisiana.
That's my only win right there too. And then in between the buys, it's Louisiana at home, at ULM, Arkansas State at home, at JMU.
0-4, baby.
I haven't beating ULM. I'm being nice here. Off of the second bye, it's Marshall at home, at Texas State, South Alabama, at Troy.
I have them 2-2. I'm beating Marshall and South Alabama.
Here's where I have
I've got
going
Marshall in the home.
I got him at 2-10.
I got him at 3-9.
I have him at 3-9.
Give me the under 4.5 minus 160. I'll take it. I'll be that guy.
Plus 160. Wow. There's a lot that I'm on in this one.
Sorry, minus 160 on my 4.5.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, 4.5 minus 160.
I was looking at over 4.5. I forgot what the words under and over meant.
Yeah. Watch out for that. Some of those some of the books trick you too, where they put the over on one side. I hate that. There was 2 teams that I accidentally did that for last year. I was so upset.
Hate to see it.
Up next, boys, it is the Texas State Bobcats. This team's going to be fun as hell. The win total is set at 8, over under minus 115 both ways with a flat 8. They are plus 500 to win the conference, plus 140 to win the division. Losing their quarterback last year hurts, but guess what? You got probably one of the best replacements you could ask for in McLeod. The offense should still be super high-powered, super fun to watch. I don't really believe in this defense, but I don't care. Texas State will be extremely, extremely entertaining.
Did they get rated? They had to have absolutely gotten rated after last year, right?
Not, terribly.
Then why not? That's my question when it comes to Texas. You see what I'm saying? Why not? Why didn't they get rated?
That's fair.
Sunbelt Player of the Year, McLeod transferring in. Anytime you have the best quarterback in the conference, you're going to be in a position to win the conference. They have 3 starters back with 54 career starts, but with the transfers coming in, this could be the best offensive line in the conference. Along with the best quarterback in the conference, they have the best running back in the conference as well. 2 of their top 3 wide receivers return. They're adding Sparks and Williams in the portal, which is going to make this maybe the best wide receiver room in the conference. Defensively in the trenches, they're adding 2 good transfers that bring size up front. It's going to help them defending the run. 5 of their top 8 are back. This is going to be one of the best units in the Sun Belt. I know a lot of people are hyping losing Holloway is going to hurt the middle of the field. I don't think that's going to have as big as effect in them with the transfers they have coming in. DBs, they have 2 starters back. They added some very good transfers. This DB room is going to be one of the better ones in the conference. When I just kind of look at it, I feel that this team has the most talent in the conference. They have multiple ways to beat you offensively. They can lean on McLeod. They can lean on any one of their wide receivers. They can lean on their running back. With their offensive line, it's going to give them McLeod protection. I bet them plus 500 to win the Sun Belt and over 8.5 wins at plus 120.
I like both those bets. I'm on also both those bets. My only worry for this team is just the style of offense they play leaves if the defense isn't getting turnovers, I feel like they're apt to get burned. No matter how good the players are, the way they play is just so fast paced.
Mhm.
My
But
quandary.
No, go ahead.
Go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, you can go
I
ahead.
was going to say my quandary is if I think Arkansas State is going to be the shit this year, going to do well, then that means that one of two teams is going to have to fall off, and it's either going to have to be Texas State or it's going to have to be Troy. And I'm not sure. I trust Troy to be like a good program year after year. Texas State kind of blew up out of nowhere last year.
That's a fair point. Can they keep the momentum going? Like, this is also like, can you guys remember the last time Texas State had this kind of like expectations going into the season?
No, absolutely not.
During that movie when Sinbad and Scott Bakula played on Texas State.
Yeah.
That was they were a knockoff of North Texas, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, the Mean Green. Unnecessary. God, such a good movie.
Let's go through the schedule.
Kathy Ireland kicking.
They start the season off with Lamar. They start the season off with Lamar, UTSA, and Arizona State all at home.
3-0, baby.
I have UTSA and Arizona State as like potential toss-ups, but I'll give them 3-0 here. I'll be nice, give them 3-0. Off the bye, it's Sam Houston in NRG Stadium at a neutral site in Houston. At Troy, Arkansas State at home, at ODU.
4-0. I have them perfect so far.
I've gone with 3 wins.
I gave them 4. I'll give them. I got them perfect too. Off the second bye, it's Louisiana at home, at ULM, Southern Miss, Georgia State, at South Alabama. Their schedule shakes out so nice. I potentially have them 11-1, 12-0. I also bet them to win the conference.
This is
7-5. I think you're crazy if you think they're going to beat Arizona State. I'm going to say that. I think you're crazy.
Dude, the shootout potential is there. It depends. Like, do you think Arizona State will be better? Like, I think they're going to be near the bottom of the Big 12.
I don't know. I'm not sure if this is going to transfer. Like, I don't know. I feel like
Baylor. They beat Baylor.
I know, but it's a different year. I don't know. Okay.
I have them at 11-1, and I have them beating Louisiana, them starting to get the hype, and then them going to lonely ULM and losing to ULM, and just a kind of a letdown spot, then running the table. We've talked about
upset ULM wins is kind of like talking dirty to me, Uncle Rico.
We've talked about how bad every other defense is.
Yeah.
And I know they play fast with their style, but when you have multiple ways you can win and your defense isn't that bad, that's going to transfer over to some success. They can beat teams multiple ways. When we look at everyone else in the conference, they don't have that luxury.
The division, I believe, comes down to Saturday, October 12th, when they play Arkansas State, and guess what? They get them at home. I also bet Texas State plus 500 to win the conference. If I'm confident enough, since I already bet on App State, I might also bet Texas State to go to the playoffs. Plus 1,600.
God, can you imagine that, dude?
It would be beautiful. They'd play. Dude, imagine this. A world where Texas State goes to the playoffs and their first round opponent is Notre Dame. Notre Dame was born to lose to Texas State in the playoffs.
That very much has a Disney film written all over it, dude. Yeah.
I mean, like, there's going to be, like, Liberty is a good team. Texas State is a good team. Like, we haven't got to the Mountain West yet. We're doing that next week. Boise State is a good team. There's going to be some solid teams fighting for that group of 5, whatever the F you want to call it, at large bid.
So that's why I like App State, because they at least play Liberty. Because I think Liberty's the favorite out of the group of 5 to make the playoffs. I think App State will have a really strong case, especially if they get that win.
But okay, so let's say this. Let's say App State beats Liberty. They lose. I mean, what's their schedule? Let's say App State loses to Clemson. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say we lose to Clemson and then run the table. let's say Texas State, just some random team, loses to ULM, but beats App State in the conference final.
And then Liberty's only loss is App State, and then like Boise State trips up somewhere. Yeah.
Dude, it's going to be fucking chaos. I was supposed to be the joker right there.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right,
I like
next
you're doing
boy,
character work now. You're really bringing it out.
I got him at 12-0. I'm gonna dial it back though. Write me down for 11-1, Erik.
Chase, you said 7-5. Yeah.
7.
Respect that. I respect that, Chase. Up next, it is the Troy Trojans. Win total for them is set at a solid 7, plus 115 on the over, minus 145 on the under. They are plus 1,000 to win the conference, plus 475 to win the division. I have it written down in my notes here. This is a rebuilding year for Troy. They lost so much. So much.
I've never been a Gunnar Watson fan, but losing him is a huge step backwards, having Crowder as their starter. Offensive line is getting King back, but they have several questions at the tackle positions. Only 2 starters are returning. Plus, they're losing their all-time rusher. And you know what? I gave this out last night on my little NFL show. They lost the NFL Rookie of the Year, Vidal, which is going to be huge because you have O-line questions. You lost your all-world running back.
New coach, too.
Is going to struggle. They're losing 4 starters, don't have a chain mover in the wide receiver position. How are they going to move the ball this season? Other side of the ball, have concerns. Losing Jackson is a huge blow. Something I don't think that we're covering from. Middle of the field, I have concerns. Only getting 1 starter back. And not all the transfers they brought in are like, oh shit, this guy is good. Plus, in the back 4, they lose everybody. This defense is going to be awful. I think they're going to struggle to get stops. They have a new coach. They don't have anyone offensively when you're like, oh shit. You guys remember the Sun Belt Championship game when Vidal was he just pimped that App State defense. They have nobody right now on offense that's going to be able to do anything. I think it's going to be a long year for the Troy Trojans.
I agree 100%. I think it's going to be a tough one here. Chase, your takes on Troy?
I don't know. I think of Troy and I think of stability. I think they'll be just fine. I think I already kind of took my shot with Texas State being the team that falls off between the 2 of them. So I say that the Troy will be fine, though they did lose a lot. Potentially the NFL Rookie of the Year.
120 to 1.
120. Ooh, get it while it's hot. I like it. Yeah, that's my take on Troy.
Going into their schedule for the Troy Trojans, they start off with Nevada at home, at Memphis, at Iowa. Not easy.
0-3.
I'm going to give them 1 and 2.
I'm also going to give them 1 and 2. I have them beating Nevada at home. And then it's Florida A&M, ULM, and Texas State. I got them 2-1 in that stretch.
Yep.
I'm going to say they go 3-0. 3-0.
Nice, Chase.
Ooh.
Off of the first bye, it's at South Alabama, at Arkansas State, Coastal Carolina home for homecoming.
I haven't beaten Coastal.
I'll give them the win with Coastal, I guess. I have it as a toss-up.
I'm giving them South Alabama and giving them Coastal, so I've got them at 6.
Off the second bye week, it's at Georgia Southern, at Louisiana, and then Southern Miss.
I haven't beaten Southern Miss. I have them at 4 and 8.
I also
9-3.
I have them at 5 and 7. Win total is at 7.5. I'm gonna take the under 7.5 at minus 165.
9-3. 9-3 Trojans.
Jeez, shoot or shoot, man.
Shoot or shoot. The over is kind of juiced up, and I wouldn't play it. So don't shoot in this case, but I still think they go over.
Last team, boys. Last team. Save the best for last, some say. University of Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks, win total is set at a whopping 2.5. Plus 130 on the over, minus 165 on the under. They are plus 50,000 to win the conference, plus 20,000 to win the division. My notes for Louisiana Monroe, here they are. Respectively, stink, stank, stunk. This team stinks. They could actually improve this year because their schedule is so tough and still go 0-12.
Who's their head coach now? Is it still Terry Bowden?
No, he got fired. Their head coach is Bryant Vincent.
Oh, Brian Vincent. Well, they're all fucked then. Here we go. They're going on a run.
Who's their quarterback? The research that I done, it says it's still unclear who's the starter is going to be. I honestly hope it's General Booty, the transfer from Oklahoma, just so that way we can always say General Booty when we do our college football pregame shows.
Sure.
They have one starter returning. All the other starters will be transfers. So they could have the worst offensive line in the conference. Smith led them in rushing last season with a whopping 507 yards. I think we will struggle to get over that total this season. They are losing their top 7 wide receivers. So moving the ball is going to struggle. I don't know who the wide receiver is going to be. Defensive line, a lot of people are hyping up their transfers. I think the loss of Huntington is going to be too much for the defensive line. It's going to take a step backwards. Middle of the field, they're adding JUCOs. Look, on paper, they look okay, but we really don't know how they're going to adapt to this uptick in level of football. The strength will be the DBs. Because they were so bad last year, they can only improve. This team is going to be brutal. They don't have a lot of talent. They have a new coach. It's going to be a long-ass season.
I have my history with calling my shots with ULM. I've hit their total a couple of years in a row. I want no part of this shit, though.
We're a long way away. We are a long way away from Boogie Night.
We're a long way away from the era of Boogie Night when we were hitting conference totals overs for the year with Terry Bowden and Rich Rod.
Let's get into the schedule, boys. Jackson State, UAB to start off the season.
0-2.
0-2. Off the bye week.
It's never beating Jackson State. I did it. I did it.
Eric. Okay.
I haven't beating Jackson State.
Off the bye, they're at Texas, at Troy. They get JMU and Southern Miss both at home. I got them 0-4.
I'm going 0-4 in that stretch too.
Over.
And then off the next bye week, at South Alabama, at Marshall, Texas State at home, at Auburn, at Arkansas State, and Louisiana.
Look, do I have this team going over?
I have this team going over, Chase. I got them at 0-12. That's two teams I got at 0-12.
I've
got 3.
Jim, if you ever get the new college football game, I want ULM to be the team you rebuild.
They'll be in the list. They'll be in the list for sure. They'll be top of the list. ULM will be there. I'm going to take ULM under 2.5 at minus 165.
So you have an 0-12.
That's
Chase,
gross.
I
had him 0-12.
Right? That's really gross.
I did 3
and
9
disgusting.
because I'm a weird fuck.
I'm doing every one I got to. So I guess time for favorite bets. I have my list of favorite bets, boys. I'll start us off. I'm taking Georgia Southern over 5.5 at plus 115. I'm taking the Raging Cajuns under 7.5 at plus 110. These are my favorites. I am betting every total, but these are just my favorites. I'm taking South Alabama under 6.5 wins at plus 130. I'm taking App State to make the playoffs at plus 1,400. Arkansas State to win the West at plus 600. And I'll sprinkle a little bit on Arkansas State to win the conference at plus 1,500.
I've got
Sports Facts, by the way. It is the Bobcats. They're the Bobcats.
It is the Bobcats. All right, mine are JMU over 8.5 plus 135. Arkansas State over 6.5 plus 150. Louisiana under 7.5 plus 110. South Alabama under 6.5 plus 130. And Arkansas to win the conference at 16-1.
Nice ones. Erik, what are you rolling with?
Texas State plus 500 to win the conference. Texas State over 8.5 wins at plus 120.
Only one team for Uncle Rico in this conference. I respect it.
You know what? I'm trying to stay disciplined.
Folks, where you'll really see him hold back and hold everything close to the vest when we get to the P4 conferences.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Erik, remember last year, Erik did. I don't think you bet a single P4 team.
I didn't.
All right, folks, that'll do it for this episode of the College Football Tailgate. Give Erik a follow at ETOP21 Sports. Give Chase a follow at of Oaklawn. Give me a follow at XFL Jim. Give the video likes. Give the podcast likes. We love you guys. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time. Oh, Don Paul has a question, though. Is Finley still the QB for Texas State? No.
Nope.
It's McLeod.
Yep.
It's McLeod, baby. We will see you guys next time for, Erik said, the Mountain West. We will be doing the Mountain West next. Stay tuned for that. We love you guys. Bye-bye.